Welcome, everybody, to the third race of the ABN International Sports Car Championship season. Welcome to Monza. 3.6 miles worth of action here coming up tonight. As we get ready for action, 75 degrees, the air temp, low humidity, and low winds means that we're going to have some interesting times here this evening. Looking right now, this is Taylor Mills that we're seeing on track at the moment from the UK. Taylor Mills Racing on our own in this affair. Used to having a teammate, Caitlin Height, over in Hybrid GTP. And Jessica Sabin we saw in the Prototype Sprint Cup. Practice underway. 50 minutes worth of practice is what we're going to be seeing here. We're already 8 minutes in. Taylor Mills currently the only driver on top of the board. Pat LaBrosse just went fastest in LMGT. A lot of drivers coming in pretty quickly here. You'll see three classes tonight. Obviously, LMP1, as we're seeing right now with Taylor Mills, will kind of pay it down to Pat LaBrosse for Kraken Racing, the BMW that we're seeing here on screen. And in between, LMP2. You'll see LMP2s pop up shortly. I believe a couple are already on track. It would be one, Tucker Sawyer. So there's an LMP2 on track. We have three different classes on track tonight. The season, for those that are unfamiliar, is a swan song. It's a swan song to that as to LMP1 and LMGT, which is GTE this season. Next season, it's going to be the GTP class cars, the Cadillac and the BMW, and then LMGT will move to GT3 class cars. So the cars that are seeing their way out, a big celebration, I guess, of life for those cars that really helped beckon in the boom, the new golden age of sports car racing. We'll talk about the championship here in a second, because again, this is race 3. We've already run the first 2 races at Daytona and Montreal. So we'll go into that in just a second. Right now, we're just kind of fixing a couple things here. Some new drivers, some new faces have come in. So we're making sure we got all of that fixed as well. There's Tucker Sawyer here on track. Debutant Jeremy Barber, currently top of the board at the moment for LMP2. In LMGT, you're going to see Pat LaBrosse and Robert Cavrelli sitting first and second here. Right now, there are 3 LMP1 cars in the event. All 3 are Audis. We have, looks like 7 LMP2 class cars so far, with Barber, Eli Sasek, Tucker Sawyer, Joshua Gaiman, Felipe Salvino, Bryce Saucier, and Cade McKee. And then we have, it looks like 6 LMGT cars at the moment with Pat Labrosse, Robert Crivelli, Jewel Wolf, Derek Stafford, Eric Nabarani, and DJ Trout. Again, drivers will be coming in more and more as the session begins. Obviously, we're 12 minutes into practice, so a 50-minute session. Then there's qualifying after this, which is 10 minutes. Every driver has the track to themselves for those 10 minutes to get set 2 timed laps. The best lap that they set is what counts towards the their qualifying position. We are up to... Okay, we're still at 3 LMP1 cars with Blackwood, McAllister, and Mills. The cars are joining pretty thick and fast. The timing board is constantly changing on my end as drivers sort themselves in. Another LMP2 car, that is Nick Pressey, that joined in. Another LMGT car, and Rudy Valentine has joined in as well. So quickly, we are approaching the 20-car field size. Alrighty. So, you're going to see a lot of drivers kind of ebb in the ebb of flow here. Pat Labrosse, there he is, still top of the board. Drove the first 2 races in the Corvette, now driving in the BMW for the next 2 races. He's put himself in an interesting, challenging position. He's going to try to race every single LMGT car in this season. There's 5, so it's 2 per race. Chevrolet, BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, and Ford are the 5 manufacturers in LMGT. You'll see just about all of them in this event. There's 2 BMWs, a Corvette, a couple Porsches, and if Lilac Zero shows up, then that's a guaranteed Ford entry. So, that's what we're looking at the moment. Obviously, they're looking at Pat Labrosse, the current points leader in LMGT. We'll get into the points here in just a second. Still fixing a couple things on my end. Obviously, first time broadcasting this series. Some teething issues, as one could imagine. So we're getting some of these issues corrected here before we really kind of jump into the point standings as they currently run. Alright, so as you see, time's beginning to kind of fall in line here. We got, again, 3 LMP1s, only 1 set of time so far with Taylor Mills. A little bit more decorated here in LMGT with 5 cars on track at the moment. 4 on track for LMP2. We're going to start off with the LMP1 class here. Points coming into tonight for LMP1, pretty simple. 4 cars taking part in an event, at least of some variety. 3 Audis and a Porsche. Taylor Mills, Connor Pearson, Sam Blackwood. Mills and Blackwood are in the lobby for tonight's event. Pearson we're waiting to see from, as well as Emma Kruger. But Taylor Mills has a pretty commanding lead so far to the first 2 races. 20 points for Taylor Mills over Pearson and Blackwood. Teammates for OCM Racing have the team's championship lead in that class. Moving into the LMP2 category, it's a little bit more open. Cade McKee currently leads the standings with 51 points ahead of Eli Sasek, Tucker Sawyer, Nick Pressey, and Josh Gaiman round out the top 5 in that category. Pressey currently leading the AM category with 19 points, just 2 points or 3 points ahead of Felipe Salvino. Bryce Saucier sits level with Salvino. Then you look at Lily Peltier Sharp, who sits in 9th place in that AM category. Obviously, there'll be some changes there as it sits. There's more LMP2 cars now than what there were at Daytona and Montreal. So we'll be interested to see where those drivers stack up in this category. And finally, LMGT class, the class that I raced in the first 2 rounds. You're going to kind of see that a little bit. Pat Labrosse leading the standings and leads technically overall as a whole based on the points that he has scored, 54 for Labrosse. Adam Cole sits 2nd place in 33 points in his range, 21 off of the championship lead so far. Chad Dick with 26 points ahead of Matthew Leiter. Strixstein Polstrix sits in 5th place. Then it's Eric Nabarani. Obviously, I sit in 7th place. I'm not scoring any more points this season unless for some reason we don't broadcast an event. Lance Keltner sits behind me with 8 points. Lilac Zier with 9 points, having missed the start the first 2 races, still accumulating a healthy amount of points. And Josh Stoltz in the top 10 in the class. That's how the top 10 look in LMGT. Again, there's more new faces that come in, it seems like, every week to take part in this competition. So this will change race to race, obviously, once we get to the halfway point, which is Le Mans. Obviously, right now, still looking at Pat Labrosse as he deals with the faster traffic, LMGT, the slower class, for those that are probably unaware or unfamiliar with this category of racing. They are all organized based on speed on the left side of your screen. LMP1, the fastest class, and it's very visible. 1 minute 29 for Taylor Mills, 1 minute 39 for Josh Gaiman, and 1:45 for Labrosse. You'll also see the manufacturer logos beside each car, or beside each driver, to let you know what they are driving for this event. Labrosse stepping out of the way allows us to focus on a different driver here. There is Derek Stafford, one of the Porsches, the leading Porsche in LMGT at the moment, the 77. Let's see, from the Carolinas, racing as a privateer tonight. That 77 car looking pretty sharp. A lot of really good-looking cars here in this category. Looking further on down, Robert Crivelli, another driver making his debut tonight here in ABN. Driving in the Corvette, the C8R. P4 at the moment. For first floor racing, Rudy Valentine. He's going to accrue a penalty for the wrong number plates on his vehicle, not using the class number plates that he was required to use, so he'll take a 5-point hit immediately off the top. But he's sitting right now in 4th place. DJ Trout sits in the 5th position in class ahead of Jewel Wolf. First time we've seen Jewel in the series. She's made a couple starts in the ABN Hyper GTP series. She won a race and most recently featured on Sunday at Watkins Glen in an amazing battle with Callie Height and Lilac Zier. Amazing battle in the GT2 class cars in that category. 7th place then, Eric Nabarani. Back in Stepping Stone, back in the 91. I believe that is Valentine and Nabarani on track together, going across the start-finish line, start a new lap. Valentine goes second fastest. "16 cars have set lap time so far in this event. A little bit of a hiccup there as Nabarani's ended up in the wall. He's tagged the Armco. We've had a bit of a technical glitch with our overlay system, so it gives us a second to get that corrected. But Nabarani sitting 7th on the times at the moment, and we'll have to reset here. 16 drivers set times. 3 drivers have not set times until now. Nick Presti just jumped up onto the board, 8th place for the 94. Still waiting on Cade McKee and Callie Height set times. McKee, the points leader in LMP2, is actually running on track at the moment. There he is for Iron Rock Motorsports. That LMP2 machine looking pretty sharp. There's a car that seems like having an issue. That is a car off. That is, I believe, that's Saucier. It is Saucier off in the sand in the Lesmos. And here you will tow back to pit lane. Josh Gaiman passes right now in LMP2. Cade McKee still rolling around, as is Callie Height. The Queen's Design machine. Puts us right now currently at 19 cars for tonight's event. You're almost halfway through practice, approaching the 24th minute. As Height goes off. Runs a little wide there. Reminder that all these cars are running lower downforce setups. Monza and Le Mans pretty much in a similar vein as far as just the amount of downforce you take off of these cars to maximize that top speed. Here at Monza, it is straight away, then low speed corner, straight away, low speed corner, straight away, low speed corner. 3 chicanes as they go through the third chicane, the Ascari chicane, or Variante Ascari. Might want to go and run through a lap with one of these cars here and kind of give you a feel for what it's like here at Monza here in just a second. So we'll work on that as we get everything situated. But it's a very, despite the, I guess you would say the simplicity of the layout, it's a very hard track to seriously put a full time together. See if we can ride on board with somebody. Right on board with Nick Presti. To give you an idea on this lap. He's approaching the first chicane. First chicane here coming up. Heavy braking for him. This is the Variante de Redefilo. The first chicane. And he is not going to make it that far. He's actually going to have to tow back. So we've already kind of put in force a jinx. We'll focus now on Cade McKee. Cade McKee just starting a new lap. Just went 3rd fastest on the timing boards in LMP2 due to Redefilo chicane. Through the first couple corners. Then it's Curva. Technically this is Curva Biasono, but it's Curva Grande by the F1 fans. That's turn 3. And a quick shoot through the Variante de Rogia. The second chicane, turns 4 and 5 here. The Lesmo corners, a pair of right-hand corners. The second sharper than the first. As you see McKee fighting the low downforce, the lack of grip on the front of the car through. Hammered the apex a lot better in that second part of that corner. Then it's a straight shot under the old oval as one of the LMP1 cars goes through. I believe that's Blackwood that just went through as they approach the Ascari chicane. Out of Ascari. One corner left, and it is Curva Parabolica. The Parabolica corner. Pretty infamous through its history. Several tracks have tried to imitate it, but none have truly ever duplicated the challenge that came from Parabolica. But across the line, that is a full lap of Cade McKee in LMP2. As you saw him have to deal with a little bit of LMP1 traffic. "19 cars on track. Connor Pearson, a fourth LMP1 machine, has joined the ranks. Cade McKee kind of on his own has some sweet real estate here. It's not quite that way the further along through the track you go here. Obviously, you see the track map. There's a cluster of cars. We'll look at the 27 of Sam Blackwood. He's going through the Ascari chicane. He's got another LP1 in front of him. That is the 94 Pressy. That he's getting around here pretty easily. LP1 poses an interesting challenge for the drivers in the class. All of the hybrid system deployment is manually determined by the drivers. So the drivers have to do that all on their own. They don't have an automatic control system doing that for them, unlike what we'll see next year with the GTP class. Sam Blackwood sitting second fastest at the moment, ahead of McAllister, but behind Taylor Mills. And you'll see Connor Pearson, the second OCM racing machine, as he blares on through. He'll get around Labrosse, going into Parabolica. That'll put us all 20 cars at a set of lap time here once Pearson crosses the start-finish line, and he will go third fastest right behind his teammate. "20 minutes left in practice here. I believe it's Saucier leaving pit lane now. It is Saucier, the 93. Teammates there with Nicholas Pressy, the 93 and the 94. Saucier currently sits sixth fastest ahead of his teammate for a change here. Pressy's not been able to find his footing so far here at the Monza circuit, as the battle for AM is very tight and intense. 3 points between the top three in that class. It's Pressy leading with 19 points over Felipe Salvino and Bryce Saucier, who sit level with 16 points apiece. So LMP2 AM, a hot contest here. A little subsection of the LMP2 class as a whole. Saucier runs wide once again in the Lesmo corners. Manages to keep it in line for the second Lesmo, so he'll recover there. Cade McKee has found his footing. He is top of the board in the class. Pat Labrosse remains top of the board in LMGT with a 145.13 that he set earlier in the session. Now that we've got 20 cars all circulating, it's going to be a little bit harder to find those lap times. We'll see a better idea of complete pace in qualifying here in about 20 minutes' time. But Saucier top of the board as it currently sits. Again, for those that are unfamiliar or those that are new to ABN, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all for joining us for a wonderful Tuesday night of racing here. We're at the Monza circuit here in Italy. the third of 10 races for the ABN International Sports Car Championship season. Right now we're looking at practice underway. We'll see qualifying here at the end of this practice session, and then we'll jump into a 45-minute race with a pit stop required. As Bryce Saucier sits 6th place in class. I believe it was Pat Labrosse he got around. It is Pat Labrosse. Very unique BMW M8. BMW is currently 1st, 3rd, and 6th in the class, with Labrosse, Valentine, and Wolf in those cars. 3 Porsches, 2nd, 4th, and 7th, with Stafford, Trout, and Navarani, and a lone Chevrolet Corvette with Robert Crivelli in it. For those that have missed a race, or for those that are going to miss a race, a little less sweat about. There's 2 drop rounds in this competition for every driver in every class. What that means is that your lowest 2 results are dropped. Your best 8 results are kept. So if you miss 2 races, the 8 races you do show up to are your results. Those that make every single race, all 10 of them, you lose your worst 2. And that can be very important. That being said, it's already super close in these classes, just all throughout the category. A lot of close battles here. Labrosse coming down pit lane. We'll look at Derek Stafford, one of the Porsches, the leading Porsche. For him, a privateer. Ahead of Rudy Valentine at the moment based on times. Labrosse did improve a little bit, improved by a 10th to a 1:45.051. See if Stafford can improve at all. That was the 26 of McKee that was going through. Stafford a full half a second behind so far, but Stafford joined in later after traffic had already accumulated on the track, and that makes finding lap times way harder. Approaching the Rogia chicane. A lot of curve there. It's a car that missed the curbing. That's Sasek that missed the second chicane and had to go over the sausage curbing. Not a fun time for that 9 car. Very rough time for him. He's ahead of his teammate here tonight. That is Felipe Salvino. Salvino sitting in 5th place. Currently the fastest AM class driver in the session so far. 5th place for him. He's directly ahead of Saucier and Pressy. So a good race so far. There's 4 AM cars with Salvino, Saucier, Pressy, and Barber. The 4 AM class cars so far in the class. At least for this race. Ascent Racing, one of the only teams at LMP2 that have multiple cars. Nick Pressy Motorsports also having 2 cars. So an interesting team dynamic there between those 2 teams in this category so far. Again, 20 cars on track at the moment. This ties what we had at Daytona. We had 22 cars at Montreal. So consistent field size here in the International Sports Car Championship. Arguably one of the premier series using the GTE category and the LMP1 category. A lot of competitions have moved already to the GTP class cars, which is still growing. Obviously, the GTP class cars currently have the BMW and the Cadillac. Those cars are a little bit slower, a little bit less downforce, a little bit less aero development than what we see in what we are currently seeing in LMP1 on track at the moment. We'll soon be joined by 2 more GTP class cars iRacing has teased that those cars are joining here very soon. What very soon means, whether it's 4 weeks or 16 weeks, is to be determined. But it seems like there's going to be a doubling in size in that GTP class by the time that this series moves to it next year. So that's going to be a lot of fun to track between BMW and Cadillac and potentially Acura and Porsche. There's also the likes of Lamborghini that could also possibly enter the fold. You're entering that golden age of sports car racing that everyone really kind of last saw with the Group C cars back in the late 1980s. It's a boom in sports car racing. Again, for those that are kind of new to this is a swan song to the LMP1 class category, as well as that of the GTE regulations. Next season, we're moving to GTP. We'll still have LMP2. That'll be sort of the spine of the series. And then LMGT will move to the GT3 category, with more information on the cars accepted and allowed for that series coming at a later date, obviously due to the proliferation of entry models for LMP3 or for GT3 compared to that of GTE. It was very simple to fit GTE in this year with 5 different manufacturers: BMW, Porsche, Corvette, Ford, and Ferrari. It's a little bit more expansive in GT3. Customer racing, obviously a lot bigger in GT3 racing. You have the likes, obviously, of Ferrari still there, Porsche still there, but you add the likes of Lamborghini, you add McLaren to that fold, you add Ford to that fold. Are we going to see the Corvette, the Z06 GT3, join the fold in time for next season? That's a big question mark. What new GT3s are we going to be seeing as well? See a lot of questions over that class as the new regulations kind of come and are more developed. Right now, everyone kind of enjoying the more raw pace of the LMP1 and the GTE category cars. The GTE, the biggest difference, obviously outside of the aero, is the GTE cars are lighter and they have no ABS. So brake sensitivity and brake bias are very important to figure out during these practice sessions, of which there's only 10 minutes or so left. These cars are sensitive to locking up the brakes, especially when you want to tracks like Monza, where you have turn 1, which is a hard braking zone into a chicane. See some fans cheering on. Looks like Eric Nabarani for Stepping Stone Motorsports. There's 2 Stepping Stone Motorsports cars, I believe, in LMGT with DJ Trout and Eric Nabarani, and then as well as 1 in LMP2 with Josh Gaiman. So that team's got its hands in 2 different classes in this series. Watching Taylor Mills top of the board at the moment, a 128.1. So far, LeBras still sitting top of LMGT, and Tucker Sawyer's moved to the top of LMP2. Number 19 machine, looking impressive so far as he navigates through a little bit of traffic. That's an LMGT car that missed the chicane. So it looks like it's one of the it's the 97 of Jewel Wolf that missed the first chicane and letting traffic go by before rejoining. As I said, turn 1's tricky. The braking over turn 1 is difficult in every car. And it's especially difficult in multi-class racing. It's difficult on its own in a single-class car, whether it's, Formula 4, Champ Car, high-performance machinery. It's a lot more difficult in the sports car category because not only are you dealing with your own car, but you have to keep an eye on your mirrors. You have to keep an eye on everything around you because, especially if you're an LMGT car, you're the slowest car around. You're going to be approached by LMP1 and LMP2 cars all race long. It's going to be a never-ending cycle. So being able to sort of figure that out and adjust to that is going to be vital to the LMGT cars. And as we saw at Montreal 2 weeks ago, is critical to being on the podium here. Montreal, another track that is very technical, very difficult, deceptively technical and difficult in sports car machinery. It was very much the deciding factor of who finished on the podium, especially in this class, and who didn't. And we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight, although a little bit more space for cars to move around. but a lot heavier braking in these LMP1 cars especially. They love to send it pretty deep into the braking zones, having all that downforce at their disposal. LMP1's really the fastest sports cars we've ever seen. Not too far off of the Formula One times that were posted at some of these tracks, especially look at the likes of Fuji. Very comparable times. The Jewel Wolf going down the front straightaway into turn 1. A little bit of a lockup, another lockup, and another miss of the chicane. Jewel Wolf, however, able to rejoin quickly, not having to worry about traffic approaching. A little bit further back, Josh Gaiman approaching Parabolica. Stepping Stone Motorsports head of driver development, carrying the flag on his own in the LMP2 class. Sits third fastest behind Sawyer and McKee. The top 2 in the class debuted in the Prototype Sprint Cup, which was GTP class cars, the first time we had seen GTP class cars in ABN, and the new LMP3 category to iRacing. Sawyer and McKee were both in LMP3, and both had some incredible battles in that 6-race series. And now here they are, top of the board in LMP2, set to have more of that battling here tonight. Salvino, Presti, Sosi are still the top of the AM class battle in LMP2, with Jeremy Barber still sitting a little bit further behind, still kind of coming up to speed here at this track. Again, still very technical, very difficult track here in Italy. Couple of amazing tracks here in Italy. Monza, obviously the primary one. Just a little further up the countryside in the province of Emilia-Romagna is the Imola circuit, often cited as the home of Ferrari due to its location close to Maranello. With Monza making its sports car return, was part of the first International Le Mans Series season in 2011, when we really saw the debut of the LMP1 class as we know it now. That was back when we had Audi and Peugeot in the category. Obviously, Peugeot stepped aside, Toyota stepped in a year later, Porsche stepped in after that, and the rest was history. Gaiman still navigating. That was I believe the 77 of Stafford it was. No, it's the 91 of Navarani, excuse me. Another Porsche. There's Navarani, 7th fastest in the LMGT class. Lilac Zero is also joined in. The Ford has finally arrived for Slowbird Racing. With about 5 minutes left in practice, we'll have 8 LMGT cars, 9 LMP2 machines, and 4 LMP1 cars. There's Lilac Zero, Slowbird Racing's machine. A clean look for that Ford GT. "21 cars now is where we'll sit now for Monza. Almost level with what we saw at Montreal 2 weeks ago. You see Lilac Zero making her first laps here at the Monza circuit tonight. For everyone that's joining in and tuning in and spending your Tuesday evening with us, it's about to be very, very busy here on ABN. Tomorrow night, it is the ABN Admin Box Cup Series from Twin Ring Motegi. We're off Thursday, ABN Champ Car with the week off on Thursday, but Friday it's the Twiggy iRacing Series at Chicagoland. Saturday, it is the ARC Saturday Night Showdown Series. ABN's or ARC's Truck Series on Saturday evenings has come back. It raced at Daytona last Saturday. Its official return for Season 6. On Saturday, August 12th, they go to the Charlotte Roval. Sunday, the ARC's A Tour Cup Series visits the Indianapolis Road Course. And then Monday, as announced on our Twitter earlier this afternoon, the HTL Cup Series, its Speed Weeks kicks off a week earlier than planned, August 14th. It's the charity race at New Smyrna in benefit of the JDRF. the Junior Diabetes Research Fund. Again, all that's on Monday, August 14th. So a lot of activity coming, and the next Tuesday is the 4th race of the season for this series, the International Sports Car Championship campaign. Obviously, we're at Monza now. We've raced at Daytona. We've raced at Montreal. It's one race per country. After this, we go to Belgium. The Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is the 4th race of the season, and the 5th race, the end of the first half of the season, we head to Le Mans. So a lot of stuff going on. We'll be active almost every day this week as we get more and more active in the later stages of the summer. Again, 21 cars on track for tonight's event. Lilac Zero, the last car to take a lap here in practice. We'll go over the results for practice here at the end once the practice time has elapsed. So we'll go through the full timing screens. Obviously, we can only see top 4 per class at the moment. You'll see all of LMP1 at the top of your screen. We'll see the top 4 at LMP2 and the top 4 at LMGT. But obviously 21 cars. We'll go through that full running order. Right now, it's Taylor Mills, Connor Pearson, Stan Blackwood, and Gareth McAllister in LMP1. LMP2 is Tucker Sawyer, Cade McKee, Josh Gaiman, Eli Saslick, Felipe Salvino, Nick Pressey, Bryce Saucier, Callie Height, and Jeremy Barber. That's the full 9-car class in LMP2. And LMGT, it's Pat LaBrosse, Derek Stafford, Rudy Valentine, Robert Crivelli, DJ Trout, Joel Wolf, Eric Nabarani, and Lelexia, who just set her first time of the session. Again, for those spending your Tuesday night with us, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all for joining us here for an amazing night of racing coming up. We're just getting warmed up here this evening. Qualifying is 10 minutes, and then we will have the 45-minute main event, the 45 minutes here in Italy. Lilacs, you're currently 8th place in LMGT. Only 2 LMGT cars on track at the moment. That is Zier and Joel Wolf. And Joel Wolf's going to make a pit stop practice here, practice pit entry, which can be very difficult coming through Parabolica. Hard to get something on the brakes out of that last corner. Tucker Sawyer, the fastest car in LMP2, still on track for the rest of this session. Well, practice about to elapse here. Last 10 seconds here. We'll see the checkered flag fly, and then everything will reset as we get ready for the start of the main event. Practice will elapse here. All right, so we'll go through the results here as we get ready to go. Obviously, practice qualifying is set to begin, but we'll show how everything ended up here tonight. So far through practice, this is how it looked like for LMP1. Taylor Mills was the fastest, ahead of Sam Blackwood, Connor Pearson, and Gareth McAllister, the debutant, 4th fastest so far. A little bit of learning curve there. We'll see what he can do in that Audi number 25. LMP2 a little bit further, as you see Tucker Sawyer beginning his qualifying run. Several drivers on track already for this 10-minute session. Tucker Sawyer was the fastest in LMP2 at a Cade McKee, the full 9-car field in LMP2 on your screen there. Very tight and intense LMP2 AM class with Felipe Salvino in 5th place. I had Pressey and Saucier with Jeremy Barber rounding out the 9-car field there. And then LMGT, again, this is practice results here as we see qualifying begin. LaBrosse over Stafford, over Valentine. Very tight battle there, I think we're going to see between LaBrosse, Stafford, and Valentine. 3 amazing drivers. Crivelli not far behind. Neither is DJ Trout. His debut officially for Stepping Stone Motorsports. Joel Wolf making her first appearance in this competition, sitting 6th fastest in practice. Then it's Navarani and Lilac Zero rounding out the field there. Qualifying underway. Everyone has the track to themselves. We'll see lap time show up here a little bit. Tucker Sawyer on track. We will see if we can pick up somebody here. Obviously, Sawyer the fastest in LMP2. See how everyone runs through qualifying here. Tucker Sawyer starting his first lap. Everyone has ample time to set 2 flying laps. Excuse me. Here tonight, 2 flying laps. Best lap is what counts towards your qualifying effort. Sawyer begins his run. Again, see if he can match up to his time that he set in practice just a few minutes ago. Number 19 for Sawyer. See where Sawyer is on track. Their track map now on the right side of your screen. No one has set times so far. We should see times begin to sort of filter in here across these next few minutes. The drivers taking the green flag for their runs. Jewel Wolf's on a lap. Pressy, McAllister, Blackwood, Mills just started a lap here. Obviously, Sawyer we're looking at on his first lap. Barber's on track. Labrosse on track. Zier, Navarani. Everyone largely on track at this point in time to set qualifying lap times. But we're already approaching the halfway point in this session, so times need to begin to fall quickly. First time's on the board for LMP1. It's Pearson and McAllister. But we'll see more cars join in here. Sawyer set his first lap time, 139.19. A good lap time for Sawyer. Labrosse and Wolf have joined in. And Wolf gained some time in qualifying. Was sitting 9/10 down off Labrosse in practice. Has gained some of that time here in qualifying alone. A good effort by Joe Wolf in a quick amount of time. Getting up to speed with that BMW. 3 of the 4 have set times in LMP1. Waiting for Taylor Mills to see if she can grab pole position. She's taken pole position the first 2 races of the season. Can she go 3 for 3? Pearson closed the gap in significantly in practice to pose a bit of a threat there towards Taylor Mills' efforts to dominate this series, to dominate this class. Mills' first lap, not very quick. 1:30.2. Almost 2 seconds behind Pearson. And Pearson only ran the 1 lap. Very interesting to see how that's going to play out. Sawyer's still really largely the only LMP2 until now. That Callie Height just at a time. 2 seconds off of Sawyer. Mills now 3rd fastest. McAllister jumped up a position, the debutante in LMP1. We have a couple in this series tonight. Sawyer and Height on track here. Sam Blackwood just went fastest, 128.3. It is anyone's game right now in the LMP2 category or LMP1 category. Cade McKee just went faster than Tucker Sawyer. Sawyer just finished his 2nd lap. He will not have pole. Taylor Mills, last car in LMP1 to finish a run. Can she grab pole? Looking to go from worst to first in LMP1. A rare moment for Taylor Mills Racing. Being on the back foot. OCM currently have the front row locked out. Does Mills take it away? She does! By 1.5 tenths. Back to pole. Cold and calculated for Taylor Mills. It may be a 2-on-1 fight between Taylor Mills Racing and OCM, but Taylor Mills definitely not going to let it lay down swinging. Third pole of the season for Taylor Mills. Caden McKee took pole position in LMP2 class. We'll see if anyone can fight that. Josh Gaiman on his second lap here, going through Curva Grande. Eli Sasek will not set a lap time. He'll start 9th in LMP2. Not where he wants to start. He'll start behind his teammate, Felipe Salvino, who is currently 3rd fastest in LMP2. A good look for him. All the AM cars seem to look pretty well pacey here in LMP2. 3rd, 4th, and 5th so far for them. In 7th with Jeremy Barber making his debut. A little bit more quieter in that LMP2 field. In LMGT, it's Labras, Wolf, Crivelli, Stafford, and Zier. Valentine, Nabarani have not set times. Nabarani will not be able to set a time. Invalidated lap times here for Nabarani. He will start from the back of the field in LMGT. His teammate DJ Trout, however, still on track, starting his run on his first lap now. We'll follow Josh Gaiman through his run to see where he places his lap. Joel Wolf drops to 3rd behind Derek Stafford, who just went up a position. And DJ Trout has had an accident and has returned to pit lane. And Josh Gaiman invalidated his lap time at Parabolica. So he will not set a lap time here in this 10-minute session. That's brutal. That's going to be a hard fight for Josh Gaiman, who did not have a great time at Montreal 2 weeks ago. Alex, you're still on track. I think at this point, just kind of accumulating practice laps here. Joined in very late into the session. And there's nothing saying that you can't keep running laps here. Really, you can't. Once you've finished your 2 laps, you can't wreck out and rejoin the track because you won't be allowed to rejoin once you enter pit lane. But Zier taking this time to learn some extra things about that 4GT here. Goes over the curbing there, a little bit too hard on the brakes. The 4GT should be a monster here at the Monza circuit. It was built for straight line speed. That's why it's designed the way it is. That's why it looks the way it does. Every single dive plane, every single face of this car is designed to eliminate drag and create a little bit of slipstream here. And for Lilac Zier, she'll have to try to figure that out. Obviously, it's a little bit less important tonight. It'll be crucial to get it all figured out for in 3 weeks' time when we go to Le Mans. Obviously, that race being the biggest race of the season. So Lilac Zier will finish up this qualifying session with some extra time on track before we get into racing here at the Italian circuit. Qualifying will end here. So as we jump into it, this is what the drivers will be dealing with, this 3.61 mile circuit. If you follow just the inside lane all the way around through, you can shave maybe a couple tenths of a mile off of that. It's 3.57 if you follow just the inside lane on the right-hand side. But typically 3.61 is the accepted length. Almost at sea level, just 599 feet above sea level, one of the lowest altitude tracks we go to on the calendar. 77 degrees, the air temp, track temp's closer to about 98, 99 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's a little bit hot, a little bit sticky here on track. Not a lot of humidity. Humidity's actually gone down a little bit. The wind speed has not changed, though, so not a lot of winds. Should be a little bit easier for these drivers that have very little downforce on their cars. Starting grid. Let's go through it. Taylor Mills, fastest in the session. LMP1's first 2 rows. Taylor Mills and Sam Blackwood on the front row. It had Connor Pearson and Gareth McAllister. Caden McKee and Tucker Sawyer line up at the front of LMP2 with Felipe Salvino, his best qualifying position in this series, alongside his main LMP2 AM competitor, Nick Pressey, in row 4. A little bit further down the order, Bryce Saucier and Callie Height in row number 3. Row 4 for LMP2, row 6 for the field. There's Jeremy Barber and Eli Sasek. Sasek did not set a lap time, so he will start at the back of the field. Same with Josh Gaiman, who starts in row 7th, the last car in LMP2. Pat LaBrosse, pole position in LMGT. He will start 14th. Derek Stafford, Jewel Wolf behind him. As we look further on throughout the order, it's Robert Crivelli, Lilac Zier, then DJ Trout, Eric Nabarani. Rounding out the field, Rudy Valentine in 21st place. Formation lap begins as they roll out. Slowly but surely, it's a staggered start for all three classes. See LMP1, then a little bit of a gap to LMP2, and then a little bit of a gap to LMGT. It's how all of this begins. See a little bit further back there as we see LMP2 roll through, then we'll see LMGT roll through. See how far LMP1 cars are there as they roll down. LMP1 cars will take this start. They will start on the green flag. LMP2 and LMGT, they will start when they reach the pit wall. You see that white pit attenuator. They will start when they get to that point. We'll follow each class as they get ready to go. LMP1, they will see the green flag fly. And away they go. And immediately beginning the search for real estate. That is the 74 Pearson. 3 wide into turn 1. Through to Redfield chicane. OCM has taken first and second as Taylor Mills dropped to third, being very cautious on this opening lap. She'll try to take that position away. LMP2. Any calamities in this class? No, they all get through the Redfield chicane easily. How about LMGT? Everyone gets through this first chicane pretty well, nice and tidy. Really good stuff. It looks like that is the 77 to Stafford that got a little bit loose there in the second corner. But everyone makes it through the first corner clean. Counter to what everyone was expecting. But we're officially underway here at Monza. So fastest cars in the class, they're already here to complete lap 1. Connor Pearson will lead the first lap ahead of Taylor Mills, Sam Blackwood, and Gareth McAllister. Further down, looking down, LMP2 is trouble. Who is that? That is Barber, the 67 of Barber. He spun out of the Ascari chicane. Looks like no damage on that 67 machine. LaBrosse ahead. Barber's going to try to get around here going into the first chicane. So our first major incident is just a spin by the 67 of Barber going into the Redfield. Whoa, a little bit of lockup there by Joel Wolf, who keeps it planted, keeps it pointed straight through the Redfield chicane. We'll lose a spot there to Crivelli. Now Barani gaining a couple spots here. The 91 machine has gotten ahead of Stafford and Zier, with Valentine not taking the initial start. So trouble there for Rudy Valentine. Now Barani having a little bit of latency issues there, but still up 2 spots in the top 5 in the class. DJ Trout in the 73 machine, right on the tail end of Jewel Wolf and Robert Crivelli. Jewel Wolf actually making a move there for second place on Crivelli. BMW versus Chevrolet. Entering Parabolica. Crivelli keeps hold of second place in LMGT, but it's still very close in the class. Jewel Wolf still battling for that second spot. Huge loss of position there by Derek Stafford, who qualified in second but has dropped down early, side by side, through to the field of chicane. Crivelli still holds on to second place. That Corvette having to place that car perfectly. But LMGT, outside of LaBrosse, who's right there, that big BMW, LMGT very close and tidy here so far in the early goings of this 45-minute race. Jewel Wolf attacking once more on Crivelli, this time the inside of the Lesmo corners. Won't have much of the advantage to get there, trying to push that number 2 Corvette wide, trying to make some inroads on this. The 73 of Trout begins on the attack as well. Crivelli defends the inside lane, entering the Ascari chicane. Wolf to the outside. Trout trying to make some inroads on this battle as well. But a very intense battle at the front of the LMGT field. Over in LMP1, it's still Pearson leading Mills. 3 cars firmly in this contest in LMP1. It's the 3 cars that have made every race so far in this season, with Pearson, Mills, and Blackwood all under a blanket. Then further back, making his debut, McAllister keeping this car pointed straight and narrow. Number 25, Australian in the field. Obviously kind of keeping it nice and tidy in case something happens in traffic with one of the top 3 in the class. It's a little bit less contested in LMP2. LMP2 typically an attrition class. Has spread out a little bit between McKee, Sawyer, Sasek has moved all the way up to 3rd place in the class. Salvino holding on to that 4th position, has only lost 1 spot, and he lost it to Sasek, his teammate there. Galen's made his way forward a little bit as he goes through the Ascari chicane. But Salvino's had a really good race so far. Obviously, he's going to help out his battle a ton in that pursuit of the LMP2 AM lead, which he could get if Presti stays where he is right now. He sits right now 8th place in that class. Game in 5th. Kelly Hike getting around Saucier. So Saucier's fallen off here a lot. As has Presti, who has had to have an issue of some sort in this contest. A little bit of a contest, a little bit of an issue. That's McKee that's gone wide. He's going to go through the bollards, but he's going to lose the lead of the class. Sawyer goes through. Barber, another spin, another issue. That is once again in Ascari that he's had that issue. He is struggling in that 3rd chicane. Crivelli once again ahead of Wolf. Wolf had that position for a moment, but could not hold on to it. As the lead lap cars, the LMP1 machines, have navigated now successfully through the entire LMGT field. This is where the fun begins. Battling at the front of the field. This is for the overall lead between Pearson, Mills, and Blackwood. Pearson holds on to the race lead ahead of Mills, ahead of Blackwood. McAllister staying in fourth, just minding his time. At this point, he's doing a phenomenal job on his debut. But they will be approaching the LMP2 class cars here as that begins. Although the LMP2 cars obviously more spread out, it's still something they will be contesting here as Joe Wolf once again around Crivelli for second place in LMGT. Really good battling between both of them. A phenomenal battle here. Really throughout the entire LMGT field. You can count all the way down from Wolf to Zier. Second to seventh, all in this frame as Crivelli goes for it. Battle between the podium positions in LMGT Pro. Trout and Navarani doing phenomenal for a pair of drivers there. Stepping Stone sitting fourth and fifth in this class. A decent haul of points for that team. Both Trout and Navarani in the AM class, but so far holding their own against the likes of Stafford and Crivelli and Wolf, who are putting on an absolute battle. A little bit further up the field, it's still Savino trying to hold off Josh Gaiman. As Sasek and Salvino and Gaiman battle it out. There's Sasek just a little bit further up ahead. Once again, LMGT being an absolute barnstormer battle. Teammates there, fourth and fifth. That is Trout and Navarani. Sitting a little bit further behind here, but doing a phenomenal job so far. Again, they're ahead of, that is the 77 is Stafford and the 89 is Zier. As they watch the top three kind of begin to pull away a little bit. Wolf has gotten ahead of Crivelli. Incredible battle throughout this race so far. 11 minutes in. Right on board here. Well, actually right on board with Lilac Zier. Grab her perspective as she sits in the back. You see some lockups there. That's teammates that have been in the make contact between Navarani and Trout. Navarani getting around Trout, as did Stafford and Zier. So Trout, I don't know if he had a lockup or if Navarani had a lockup. We'll have to double check and look at that. But Trout, being the biggest loser in that transaction, still obviously in tow here. Navarani now sitting in fourth place in LMGT. Right now, we're looking at Zier running on board as she sits behind the pair of Porsches here. Battle for LMGT, still 100% intense. As we look at this battle between Wolf and Crivelli. Really good fight between them so far. Crivelli to the inside on the first corner. Makes it stick. Very respectable battle so far between these two. Navarani and Stafford. Navarani went wide. Cut the chicane. He's going to have a slowdown he's got to serve here for cutting that chicane. Now once again under pressure. Battle for the class. Navarani having to slow down. That's what I thought the slowdown was going to have to happen here. He's going to give the position there to Stafford. And now it's put Sierra under pressure from Trout. Navarani was trying to get the penalty to slow down on its own, but couldn't get it to happen. So Navarani in trouble. Trout's gotten back around Zier. But Stafford's gotten his way through. In phenomenal style. LeBras still ahead of Jeremy Barber. Barber struggling to get around, has had a difficult race so far to start off his ABN career. Barber getting through. Ross sitting 13 seconds clear of Crivelli and Wolf, who have been battling this entire time. Wolf with draft, with slipstream. Crivelli moved to the middle lane. Trying to force a very difficult decision of that BMW behind. So far, it's been a phenomenal battle between everyone really in LMGT. Has been absolutely impeccable stuff. However, it's about to get a little bit more difficult, I think, with LMP1 cars once again approaching. That is Pearson, Mills, and Blackwood. LMP1's arrived again, and they've managed to catch them all in Curva Grande, which is very fortunate there. It's not gonna help Blackwood out much. Blackwood having to stay behind. That was the 77, or the 77 to Stafford there for an extra second longer. But the top three in this field still very nose to tail, 1.1 separating the top three in overall standings. Been blistering all-out pace so far in those LMP1 cars. It's been fun to see. As they get around, that is the 97 of Wolf and the 2 of Crivelli. They've made their way through. Sear went really wide further on back. Went really wide in the exit of Ascari. Oh, you also see the LMP2 cars beginning to approach the LMGT cars as well. The leading LMP2 cars will begin to encounter their first lap traffic of this race. Sear letting McAllister go through. Crivelli once again under threat from the BMW of Wolf. Crivelli darts to the inside, then darts back to the outside. He's got to be careful not to make too many moves when defensively driving here. Any reactive blocking maneuvers are illegal per Universal ABN code. And serpentining down the straightaways is also considered illegal if it is too brash and abrupt. So Crivelli's got to kind of toe that line very tightly, trying to defend from the 97 of Jewel Wolf. Front of the field, it's still very tight and narrow between OCM and TMR. As they get around Jeremy Barber, he makes it easy going through Ascari. Top three in class, still all very much in it. Blackwood's lost a little bit of time in that lap traffic. He's down to 1.5 seconds behind the race leader, behind his teammate, Connor Pearson. Still a tight battle here, and it's a tight battle at the front of LMP2 as they begin to approach lap cars. That's Lilac Zier, and that's trouble. That's a car wide. That was Navarani, who's got damage to his car. Navarani in trouble. Does he come down pit lane this time? He's out of Parabolica now. But Navarani in trouble. His car looking well less than 100% right now. What happened to Eric Navarani? He goes wide. Does he spin? No, he's not. He didn't spin there. We'll look further on down. This is in the Ascari chicane. It must have all happened here in Ascari. Oh, he just hopped the curb big time. And all of that damage came from the sausage curbing. That's all that damage came from, was the sausage curbing. He didn't tag the wall or anything. Just way too aggressive on the exit of Ascari. That's brutal. And Navarani now feeling the effects of that damage. Wolf's gotten ahead of Crivelli at the front of the field here. Battle for second place in LMGT has been an absolute thriller in this race so far. Pearson still ahead of Taylor Mills at the front of the field. McKee has a 1.5 second gap over Tucker Sawyer. Eli Sasek sits third, and then it's Josh Gaiman, with Felipe Salvino, the leader at LMP2 AM. So here we go. 20 minutes in. Side-by-side battle between Wolf and Crivelli. Contact as they let Cade McKee go through. A little bit of door-to-door action between the two. We're going to kind of pan through to see what happened to DJ Trout. But I think we're going to wait a second here. Still side-by-side, and a little bit of contact for the first time between these two cars. Crivelli had to let go that time. Joel Wolf goes through, and there goes Tucker Sawyer, trying to pick his way through this battle. Sawyer moves to the inside lane. Wolf will break up a little bit early. Try to defend that inside lane out of the Lesmo corners. Absolutely impressive stuff. Impressive fighting. Sasek goes through. Sawyer checked up, and that puts Sasek in the mix for second place in the standings in LMP2. We are going to look here at DJ Trout while we have a chance. And I don't know if this is where this battle took place. Looking here, trying to find where this battle really all kicked off. Again, this is between teammates right for Stepping Stone. DJ Trout in his first race. And Eric Navarani, obviously, who's been here the first couple races. Again, we're looking at Trout, the 73. He's the one I think that got pushed a little bit wide in all of this conversation. Trying to figure out what happened here to Trout, and notice that it said he was offline somewhere. It is not giving me an exact direction as to where. Maybe coming up here very shortly. And we're trying to figure this out right now. A lot of cars coming down pit lane. You're not missing a lot on track. A lot of LMP2 just came down pit lane in this process, as did a lot of LMGT. Trout and Navarani. Navarani with a lot of slipstream here. I think this is where this occurs. We saw it live on board of Zier's machine. Navarani locks up. Yeah, and just a little bit of contact there. Now Barani just locked up early too, and just never really got it completely going again. And it's in DJ Trout backwards. Jewel Wolf exiting pit lane. Wolf. Did Wolf have a speeding penalty? That is a very long stop for Wolf, unless that was a tire stop. Not sure if it was a tire stop or not. Drivers opting mostly to not take tires in this series. So Wolf may have just thrown herself out of this battle for the front of the field. But Crivelli's also thrown himself backwards here. Crivelli's now third behind Stafford, with DJ Trout now in pursuit. So LMGT just had a massive shakeup in how all this came to be. Very peculiar how this race has evolved, especially in this class here. Cade McKee just came down pit lane. He's actually leaving pit lane now as the LMP1 cars come down pit lane. So their first pit stops come. McKee, Sawyer, Sasek. There's Sawyer coming down the front straightaway as McKee exits the long pit exit here at Monza. Then it's Sasek in third, then Gaiman in fourth, then Pressy in fifth, is how things currently sit here in the session. That's an LMP2. And Taylor Mills got a phenomenal pit exit. Mills out of pit lane as the race leader. Connor Pearson led the entire first half of this race. But now it's a Taylor Mills show as he tries to get around the LMGT cars on her outlap. Pearson had the slowest stop in LMP1 from first to third. Now it's all to play for. Pit stops are over. This has been absolutely thrilling stuff. Oh, car loose. That was 77 at Stafford. Luckily, everyone stayed clean and clear. That's Josh Gaiman in the 61, fourth place in LMP2 that they're getting around now. And a quick navigation between LMP1 and LMP2 there as they approach the Ascari chicane. All to play for now. And it's a level playing field, similar setups here between everyone in this top three. Wild battling here in LMP1. Really crazy battling all throughout. LaBrosse leaves pit lane, or sorry, Barber leaves pit lane behind LaBrosse, and Barber just earned himself a penalty there. Cross pit lane, exit line way too early. He's going to have to come in and serve that as a stop-go penalty. Unsafe pit exit for Jeremy Barber. We saw that live on our screens. A rough go for that. So Barber will drop down, and he will end up being behind all of the LMGT cars here. And there's McKee, right ahead of the LMP1 class leader, LMP2 class leader, Cade McKee. Through the Leslie corners. Gonna try to make it easy. As Sam Blackwood tries to take on Taylor Mills now. Second place for that 27 machine. As they also get around Pat LaBrosse. Oh, trouble! The leader's involved! A huge track blockage. And the safety car has come out. A huge track blockage in the Ascari chicane. Will neutralize the field. Between Jeremy Barber and Cade McKee. Wow. First safety car period in the series history for a track blockage in the Ascari chicane. And this kind of resets the field, as everyone will now have a chance to catch up. We'll look back and review it. It's between Cade McKee, who was the class leader, and Jeremy Barber. Barber trying to let everyone go through. Obviously, he had a rough time. He had a drive-through penalty coming up. And Jeremy Barber just slows down. And obviously, 2 cars blocking the entirety of the Ascari chicane. Nothing for Tucker Sawyer to do. Obviously, Eli Sasek went through the Ascari gravel trap there. And obviously still trouble there as Jeremy Barber tried to roll his way out of the way of the Ascari chicane. But multiple cars involved in that as the track was completely blocked for the safety car to be deployed. So obviously, going back to live pictures here, safety car period allows the field to kind of re-catch up here. This changes a lot of things. As if it goes without saying. So all 20 cars on track will obviously here really in this freeze frame of time. First time we've seen them all together since the initial start when they all rolled off the formation grid. And this sort of neutralizes some things. And it's going to be interesting for Pat Labrosse, who is really up there as the LMGT car, because all the cars stay in their positions as they currently sit. The field is completely frozen at the point of caution, or a point of safety car deployment, depending on how you want to call it. So whites are out on the safety car here, which means we will be seeing, looks like green flag at the end of this lap. We will be going back racing with less than 15 minutes remaining. And what a sprint this will be. Tina Mills leads the way ahead of Sam Blackwood. Connor Pearson just behind Pat Labrosse. Shouldn't be too much to navigate there for that number 74 machine on this initial start. McAllister is fourth in LMP1, but he's sitting way further back in traffic here. Then it's Sasek leading LMP2 ahead of Cade McKee, Tucker Sawyer, Josh Gaiman, Felipe Salvino, Callie Height, Nicholas Pressey, Bryce Saucier in that class, with Pat Labrosse leading LMGT. Stafford, Crivelli, Trout, Nabarani, Wolf, and Zier, the drivers in LMGT. First safety car deployment of the season for a track blockage in the Escarre chicane. Porsche pace car leading us around here. It'll be closer to 10 minutes left in this race by the time everything gets re-going again. This will be an interesting restart as several LMP2 cars came down for additional service here. So this will be very interesting. So, Taylor Mills leading the first restart of the season, really. First safety car restart. Porsche pace car will pull off into pit lane. And we'll see all 20 cars go green once again. Sear back down pit lane. Green flag flies, and away we go. And you see everyone fan out. Oh, trouble. Trouble, car spun. Multiple cars spun. Wolf got spun there. Someone else got spun. Looks like Navarani got spun out as well later on. Zier and Stafford all got spun as well. And Stafford with a lot of damage on his car. It'll be interesting to see how that went because Stafford's car is completely torn up. And he will have to just tow that car out of the way. You saw the crab walking that 77 was going through. As everyone sorts themselves through a little bit here. And it looks like Jeremy Barber is also towed here. McAllister right back in this conversation as well. McAllister actually now up to third place. So we'll walk through this. What happened to everyone here in this first lap restart kerfuffle? Because it's Sawyer LaBrosse, I believe. I don't know if LaBrosse has got a piece of it or not. No, it's LMP2s that caused it. Oh. Yeah, it's all LMP2s that caused it. I don't know who caused that with Sawyer. Was that... I don't know if that was Salvino or if that was... I don't know if it was Sasek or who it was. We don't have a really smart angle of this, do we? Was it Sasek that got into... No, it was Salvino. Salvino sent it in on him. Battle for the lead of this race between Blackwood, Mills, Pearson, and McAllister. Oh, Mills went wide. Mills went really wide in Parabolica. So Mills now at the back of the field in LMP1 with a lot of work to do with not a lot of time remaining. Blackwood, Pearson, 1-2 for OCM Racing, looking for their first win of the team in ABN. Sasek leads LMP2 ahead of McKee and Salvino. Kelly Height sits 4th place, then it's Pressy, then Saucier, and Saucier went wide and up and over the sausage curbs there in the second chicane. The Variante de Rogia. Trout and Labrosse still battling here. Labrosse now not 100%. That BMW is still struggling. You see the damage on that car, especially at the front end. But still fighting. Wolf sits 3rd fastest, got back right in the conversation of this, managed to avoid most of the melee, was behind most of the melee, and now sits 3rd place in class. Zier sits 4th ahead of Navarani. Navarani was able to take a fast repair. His car looks a lot better now. Crivelli, his car, got a piece of that. Stafford back rolling again, trying to finish this race. Gaiman having to serve a penalty, as did Jeremy Barber, who earned a penalty before the caution came out to begin with. Five minutes remain. Trout and Labrosse, one of the closest battles right now on track. And Saucier looks like he is struggling pretty mightily here. That number 93, Delara, not in the best of shapes. A challenging race there for Labrosse is turned into, as he has to now try to nurse a wounded BMW to attempt to win here at Monza. He's attacking Trout, who lost himself, went wide, was forced wide by his teammate Navarani early in this race. Now finds himself in the most luxurious spot in the class. It all popped off after that restart as Labrosse looks to the inside of Trout. Labrosse, the Canadian driver, makes his way through. Not over. Trout's going to try to attack back. Wolf lingering in the distance. Trout's got the better front end. A little bit better on these straightaways, but Labrosse, that technical know-how, that's savvy. Despite the wounded car, the severely wounded car, still battling for the win in LMGT with 4 minutes remaining. It's going to be a tight battle here, both in LMP1 and in LMGT. Trout gets around and clears. Labrosse sends under braking here into turn 1. And Labrosse makes it through cleanly. Trout knows this game, knows where Labrosse is weak now. DJ Trout looking to land a blow straight to the jaw of one of the most dominant GT drivers in ABN. Labrosse in the race lead. Wolf closing in little by little, but it may be too little with the 2 minutes remaining. Blackwood getting around some lap traffic here. Pearson will try to do the same. Down the back straightaway towards the Ascari chicane. Pearson defends the inside. Mills to the outside of the Ascari chicane. Here they go. 90 seconds of regulation coming up. Mills went wide in Parabolica with 7 minutes remaining and has not been able to clearly get that back. Was side by side with Blackwood. I don't know if there was contact between the two cars or not. We have not had a chance to go back and look at it. But it sent Mills wide. And Mills has not had a chance to firmly recover this, and with essentially a lap remaining in this race, this may be it. Mills trying her best. Trying to at least salvage a second place here. Trying to attack Pearson, who's defending very well. Defending the inside at every apex. Wolf has gone around Trout. We'll stay on board with this battle for second in LMP1. This is the battle for the second place overall. Blackwood seems keen to get his first win in ABN competition as it goes down the straightaway towards the Ascari chicane. Who finishes second in LMP1? Pearson trying to hold off for a 1-2 for OCM. Trouble. Mills goes wide. Trying to get around Saucier. That may have just cost Mills a chance for second place. Sam Blackwood comes out of Parabolica. He'll take the checkered flag and win in Monza, his first career win. Pearson and Mills second and third, and Mills got to be frustrated with lap traffic there. Labrosse coming out of Parabolica now as well. Wounded car in hand. Not enough to stop the perfect man in LMGT as he wins at Monza. Goes 3 for 3. Jewel Wolf finishes second on debut in the series ahead of DJ Trout on his debut in ABN in general. His career podium for him. In LMP2, it's a little bit further away. Sasek and McKee lead that class. Sasek on his own by 7 seconds. The closest battle was between Pressey and Height. Still is the closest battle between Pressey and Height as they go out of the Lesmo corners. Half a lap to go for them. Sam Blackwood wins at Monza in LMP1. Sasek will win in LMP2, and Labrosse takes the win in LMGT. But there's still battles going on around this 3.6 mile circuit. Height was trying to get around Pressey. It looks very unlikely now. Down to Parabolica for the last time. Two of the last cars to cross the checkered flag as Height goes wide at Parabolica and gives up any chance of a late lunge. Pressey finishes 4th. Callie Height will recover to finish 5th in LMP2. What a fight to the finish. And to think in 7 days time, we get to do it again. We'll hear from our class winners, possibly, here in just a second. That was a wild turn of events. Obviously, we'll cover everything coming up after this in just a second. We'll see if we can talk to our class winners, Sam Blackwood, Eli Sasek, Pat Labrosse. What a fight. All right, so we will not hear from our LMGT class winner, Pat LaBrosse, dealing with a personal illness. So we will spare him that conversation. We'll see if we can hear from Sam Blackwood or Connor Pearson, though. We'll start with Eli Sasek, our race winner in LMP2. Eli, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
What a race. Race win here at Monza in LMP2, and a frantic one at that. Walk through your perspective there on that race, especially that restart that kicked everything off.
My restart was not good. I didn't have a good restart. I allowed Kay to get beside me. I tried to use the GTE, the GTE car as kind of a pick of sorts, and then I kind of had to make it 3 wide, and then an LMP1 just came flying out of nowhere, so it was very crazy, very hectic. I knew he had some sort of damage, and I think that allowed me to have a kind of advantage going into turn 1 and through the rest of the lap, and I was just able to build that lead and keep it there. Just had to keep it on track from there on out.
Obviously, it's been a very frantic start of a season here, as obviously this is now race 3 of 10. It does a lot for you, obviously, going in through this race. You kind of look at where everything was in LMP2. You were sitting second to Cade. You've gained a lot of points on Cade here. With Spa and Le Mans coming up next to end off this first half of the season, how do you feel that you can probably claw that gap in a little bit more? It was 18 points entering tonight. Now it's a little bit closer to 10 points after tonight.
I feel pretty confident at Spa and Le Mans too, probably. I wish the gap was a little bit shorter. I was kind of hoping that Felipe would pass Cade and give me a little bit more of a points boost, but it is what it is. And I think Spa is a good one to look forward to. Le Mans will be interesting for sure. Cade will probably be faster, but I think I'll have a good chance to at least keep a steady gap and not lose too much points or even gain. It just depends on what happens. Maybe things will be crazy as they were here today. So I think it just depends on what kind of happens in those races. We always seem to be fast. And we could have gotten it done at Canada too. So it just depends really.
Well, tonight, obviously a big night for you here. A win in LMP2. Before we let you go, obviously a big night here for Sienna as a whole. Just a double podium there, I believe, with Felipe finishing, I think, third tonight. In fact, yeah, he did finish third. So a big night here for Sienna Racing in LMP2. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, Eli, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a job well done. Race winner in LMP2 tonight.
Definitely Felipe for riding with us. He is another car on track, and he's pretty fast. He gets consistent finishes, so that's pretty good. And then everybody else at Ascent, especially just everybody that is kind of building up Ascent, and then everybody watching and everybody that puts races on to you guys.
Eli, well, congratulations on, again, another race win here, this time LMP2 at Monza. Well, obviously, we'll get to see a little bit more here. We'll see you again on Friday night in Twiggy, and we'll see you next Tuesday at Spa. Eli, enjoy the race win, and we'll be seeing you here very shortly.
All right, thank you.
That was Eli Sasek, race winner in LMP2. A phenomenal job for him, and a phenomenal job for Ascent Racing as a whole. We'll talk about the point standings here in just a moment, but we'll talk first to the LMP1 race winner for the first time in ABN competition, Sam Blackwood. Sam, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
What a drive. Phenomenal effort there for OCM Racing as a whole. 1-2 for the first time in ABN for the team. And finally, a win here at Monza. Walk through that race and obviously how much you had to work on that one, because it was very frantic between the top three of you all night long tonight.
Probably start from qualifying, really. I thought I could have got a 28-1, but I missed the apex at Lesmo 1 on my flying lap, so maybe could have snuck pole away, but it was a go on green, so it didn't really matter, and we just had to have better reactions. And then I'd spoken to Connor all week at all about how I didn't even know he was doing this race. I was surprised to see him here. Surprised to see Gareth as well, I think it was, yeah. So start of the race, if Connor was going to send up LB inside, I was just going to let him go and just sit in P3 and mind my own business for the night. Then I just sort of stuck with him. I thought, okay, well, I guess I could probably stick around and watch the show. The safety car really did change everything, because the moment it came out, before the safety car came out, I think Mills had about a 1.5 second lead over me out of Ascari, because I got stuck behind the GT and she didn't. So the safety car definitely changed everything. I knew I had to just get a better restart and just power past them. It's unfortunate that we had an incident in Ascari. I just looked it through the replay, and it's about a foot of netcode. I don't know how that's even possible, but it feels like a bit of a crappy way to win, have it be netcode of the closest person that can win. So it kind of feels a bit empty, but I'll take what I can get.
And I say it was a fun battle up until that point. Obviously, you and Taylor and Connor had an amazing battle there, and Gareth put his nose in it there on that restart and really made it feel like an absolute battle there. Looking at obviously the next couple of races here, obviously a first race win here for you here at ABN, and at the top class of the sports car competition, Spa in 7 days. Do you feel like you've all been there in that similar range? Do you feel like you can kind of bring that same level of competition next week at Spa, another track that's going to be a very quick track, but also very much on once again, traffic management as it was tonight?
Unfortunately not. I think Spa, I'm one of the few, handful of people that actually don't like Spa on iRacing. I know it sounds crazy to hear it coming from the horse's mouth, but I'm just not a fan of it. It seems a bit overhyped, but I'm looking forward to Le Mans and Silverstone. I haven't driven Aragon. I've driven Phillip Island before, but that was about 2 or 3 years ago. Suzuka should be fun, in quotation marks, and Interlagos is the next one. Interlagos is the next one I think I could probably win. That and Monza were the two I thought I could win.
Well, obviously tonight it came out of nowhere, but what a way to make it happen, in a 1-2 here for OCM Racing. Before I let you go and let you enjoy, obviously very late at night for you, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations, your first win in ABN, and what a way to do it.
Yeah, thanks to Nor for obviously being my teammate. We had no contact throughout this entire race. I hadn't spoken to him all week. Thanks to Eric for obviously having OCM as a whole. Wouldn't sort of be where I am for the last 5 years if he didn't have that team up and running. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Sam, congratulations again on your first race win here in ABN. Enjoy it, and we'll be seeing you in a week's time here at Spa.
Cheers. See ya.
See ya. Alrighty, that was a race winner for Sam Blackwood, our race winner in LMP1. We talked to both of our race winners in LMP1 and LMP2. Again, Pat LaBrosse, we wish we could hear from him, but unfortunately a personal illness keeping him away from the microphone for the time being. We will talk about how that race finish turned out. What a drive for Sam Blackwood as a whole. But here's how the full results turned out. Sam Blackwood, Connor Pearson, Taylor Mills, Gareth McAllister rounding out the front of the field. Ahead of Eli Sasek, Caden McKee, and Felipe Salvino, who rounded out the podium in LMP2. Nick Pressey in 4th place, Callie Heighton 5th, ahead of Bryce Saucier, with Tucker Sawyer finishing in 7th position further on down the order. Pat LaBrosse won in LMGT with a very broken front end, but it worked out phenomenally for him still. Jewel Wolf with a 2nd place finish ahead of DJ Trout. A phenomenal battle all the way throughout this race in LMGT was one to definitely write about. Lilac Zier finished in the 4th position, a good result, best result of the season for the Ford machinery. Eric Nabarani finished in the 5th position, the Canadian driver finishing 5th for Stepping Stone Motorsports. After Nabarani is Robert Crivelli. Crivelli, obviously a little bit of damage there on that initial restart incident. Finished in the 6th position ahead of Derek Stafford, who had to tow after having a significant amount of damage on his machine. Josh Gaiman suffered a slowdown, a penalty for having to avoid that accident, and ended up having to serve a drive-through penalty for it. And Jeremy Barber suffered a penalty for a slowdown as well, that ended up causing the first caution to begin with. But that is the running order for the results. We'll talk about the points as they run, because the points unofficially, they have changed quite a bit. Points as they run. LMP1, Taylor Mills, 69 points. Sam Blackwood's closed that gap in. Then it's Connor Pearson and McCruger still with 14 points, and Gareth McAllister with 12. Further on down the order in LMP2, this class never ceases to amaze. Caden McKee leads still, but Sassex dropped the points gap down to 11 points. Tucker Sawyer in third, Nick Pressey in fourth, now level with Felipe Salvino for LMP2 AM. Bryce Saucier in sixth place, then it's Gaiman, Height, Pelletier Sharp, and Jeremy Barber rounding out the LMP2 championship standings. And LMGT, Pat Labrosse extends the lead at the top. Adam Coles did not start tonight. Navarani scored enough points to get 30 points, third overall in LMGT, and now leads LMGT AM. Lilac Zier in fourth place gained some time as well, now sitting just a point behind Navarani tonight. Chad Dick finished fifth, now sitting in fifth place after missing tonight's race. He appeared both at Daytona and Montreal. We hope to see him back again at Spa in 7 days' time. Matthew Leiter likewise was not present tonight. We hope to see him again at Spa and at Le Mans these next two races. Polsetrick sitting in seventh, and it's Wolf on debut, up to 20 points, finishing second place for her. She's up to eighth place in the standings. Then it's Sienna Keltner in the top 10 as we look further on down the running order. 17 cars have scored points in this season so far in LMGT. A very frantic and close battle throughout that class after just 3 rounds. But that's going to do it from us here at Monza. For Sam Blackwood, Eli Sasek, and Pat Labrosse, it's race wins here at the Autodromo de Monza. 7 days' time, we are back again for the 45 minutes of Belgium at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. In between now and then, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., we go live for the ABN Ambox Cup Series at Twin Ring Motegi. We head to Japan for some stock car racing. We're back also Friday night at 8:45 p.m. for Twiggy iRacing Series at Chicagoland. And then Saturday and Sunday will be active for ARCs, both for the Saturday Night Showdown Series and for A Squared. But on behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, and the ABN International Sports Car Championship, I'm Carmen Sienna. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun this week. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.